Hey, Lindsay, going to show you how I do my multi-time frame analysis. So I start in the daily chart. I grab my crosshair, and I always look to see where price action is heading. We're currently what it's been doing, and I see if there's any similar patterns that are happening. And then I also look at the current daily candlestick to see where it's been staying. So here I can see it's been at this red line level of resistance and pretty much staying between this purple line here of support. I do see the wick where it went up to this level right here, but for the most part I can tell that it's staying right here because of the body that I'm looking at. So then I go into the 4-hour chart and I check the same thing, and I go ahead and start with today's date, and I can see here that price action started out right here. And basically the same thing that the daily was showing me, that it was testing this line of support, and there was a point where it went up and then it came back down. I don't know if that was a report that came out, but it's pretty much staying right here in between these two support and resistance lines. So when I go to the hourly chart, I also check on the same thing. And what I'm seeing again is that it's staying in between these two lines. Here I would enter another support and resistance line just due to the gap. Since this is 77 and that's 18, I know that's a huge gap for me to get into. And if I wanted to get into a trade, it would have to be something where this candlestick is, coming down and it hits and I can reach this line of support again, or if it goes back up, I'm thinking it's going to reach this line of resistance. So I'm not at this point, I wouldn't be looking into anything coming above this. And if it were to get into a sell that would go below this resistance line, support line, I would need to see something that's passing these wicks right here. So I can already see that the price was tested with this support line and it wasn't getting any farther than where these wicks are right here. So if there was a sell to get into, anything lower than this support line, I would need to see price action coming past this. And then I would enter actually another support and resistance line here too. So how I enter support and resistance line that I don't have yet, I go ahead and see, I write down these two numbers where price action is staying in between. So I know it's at this 1.15184 and the 1.14770. So I write those numbers down, and then I go back to multi-time frame and I look to see where else has price action been between these two price points. So I'll zoom out and I can see here that price action has been between these two support and resistance lines on August 21st. So then I go to my 15-minute chart, and basically I'm going to go back to August 21st. Oh, that's why it's not moving. So here I'm back at August 21st, and we can see here's you can see price action is right here. And then here's the resistance line, the red one, and here's the purple one here. So I'll continue to have my pen and paper out, and I'll just write down like here what I place my support and resistance here on the on October 21st. So I'll look at these price points and I'll figure out what would be the best line, because you can see there's hesitation here. So this would be a key for me as to this line is going to obviously stretch across to today's date, October 4th. And that support and resistance line will be an indicator for me as to when I would get into a buy or a sell. So I'll use that for example. Now, that'll be there. So then when I go back to current price action here, once again, I'm seeing the wicks here. So everything was tested here. So I know nothing is going to pass that. And then, I mean, really right now, I would only stay in consolidation. So I'm not even going to talk about what I would do to go higher than this or even lower than this, because what I'm seeing right now is something that I just wouldn't do. So I don't want to just make things up just to talk about it, because that's just where the market is right now. So I don't want to do any hypotheticals, because to me it gets confusing, and I just like to stick to what's in front of me. So this is what I'd be looking for, is basically gaining pips in between these two lines here. So it's quite a distance. You got 23 plus 18. That's 11. So like 40 some. So there's a possibility to get, maybe 13 to, 18 pips potentially with a consolidation. So some here is where price, that line from my previous on August 21st would come through, and that would be an indicator as to where I'd enter. And then also what I do on this current 15-minute chart, I also write down a number here where I would put a support and resistance line. So say I have it at 1.4980, I'll write that down. And then when I go to August 21st, I'll write down the number that I got from there, and I'll see how close they are. And depending on which one, maybe has the most touches, I'll use that number, but I do it to check to make sure that the numbers are still close together. So I'm not doing 1.14980 and then the other one is 1.14900 right here, because that's 8 pips, and that's quite a bit of pips for a stop loss. A support and resistance line. So I hope that helps a little bit as to how I do my time frame analysis. And once again, I was just going based on what the charts are showing me right now. Let me know if you have any questions.